Thank you for the interview, Dan.
Absolutely my pleasure.
How do you feel about being dubbed the King of Mosey?
Well, you know, as a creator of whatever things, you can't really avoid being dubbed whatever people are going to dub you, and you know, it happens with anything, any movement, any person doing any single thing that is, I guess, perceived as different than anything else. People feel the need to give it a title, and since there is a title, you know, mosey, obviously, to what I'm currently doing, people decided to say that, and there's really no way to avoid it, and you know, obviously I take it as a high compliment.
You've recently been recognized as the forefront or focus artist of a roots renaissance. Is that how you see yourself within the music industry?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more of the type of person who absorbs all types of music, and I have somewhat of an instinctual filter that I'm sure many people have, and I try to find the good in all things that I hear, and sometimes it's inspirational, of course, but I do find lately that that filter that I, you know, use without realizing kind of works as a warning more than anything. I would say that roots is like a really broad term that's obviously trying to sort of encapsulate like the origin of a style, a very obviously primitive style of song. And what I do, I like to think, is very much of our time. It's a modern approach to music. It speaks to the children. It speaks to my generation directly.
So would you say mosey is a type of roots music?
I would say that roots music is obviously very influential to a lot of people, and myself included. But I would say that from an industry standpoint, it kind of has like an old world approach to how it carries itself and how it represents itself today. And I think that gets lost in the fast pace of our current generation. Like I said, mosey, I would say, is very much contemporary. It's about right now. It's definitely about right now, and it speaks to this generation. It has to.
From a musical standpoint, in your opinion, what other styles of music speak to this generation?
Rap, hip hop. Rap is like, you know, modern poetry. I find that it tells a modern story. I mean, clearly it tells a modern story, and I guess that's the parallel to what I do. It's like, what was it? Jay-Z recently did an interview, I think it was with CNN, and he said something that Chuck D said, which was that hip-hop is the CNN for the ghetto or of the ghetto. You know, and much like that, you know, I just think that says it absolutely perfectly. It's like news. It's what's happening now. It's art. It's humor. It's poetry. It's important, and really, from my point of view, I'm only interested in what's happening now.
Over the last 3 years, you have made visual art for acts like City and Color, Iron and Wine, Fucked Up, Bone Thugs and Harmony, M Ward, and Bahamas. That's a very broad spectrum of musical styles you're dealing with. How important is visual aesthetic to what you do?
It's all really bigger than me. It's all part of something bigger, and it's it's like the vision that's blossomed through my experience over time. Like having one single clear message that somehow encompasses all the things I want to say, and simultaneously have people hear. Things that I think are important hopefully come through in all mediums that I use in an artistic way.
Speaking of mediums, a lot of people in the industry see you as a Da Vinci type character, in the sense that you seem to be able to apply your aesthetic to many different mediums. Is that how you see yourself personally?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I know my vision and art in all forms are somehow united, I suppose, and they're necessary. I utilize them. They're necessary for me to speak in a way that's heard and also honest to myself. It allows me to push myself. If there's something that I don't know how to do, I'll find a way to do it. I'll learn how to do it, whatever. That's just it's just how I am, whether it's manic or I don't know. But that's, it's instinctual for me. I can't avoid that. When it comes to the art, for me, it sort of blurs the academic definition of what art is and sort of reinforces that it can grow to be, more than that. All art is important and all visions should be executed.
So which of those visions is your particular favorite amongst those then?
I would have to say, it varies. My process is also manic. It's, my stations for what I do are very much linked. They're very close together. So 1 minute I'll be, playing bass on a song or something, and then I'll take a break and come back downstairs and realize that I should be working on a painting or whatever, and sometimes I think it's a really unfortunate way to go about things. It's because in a lot of ways my life lacks a contemporary structure, like a comfort, a sort of 9-to-5 approach, right? And but it's really the only way that I have ever been able to accomplish anything. Therefore, I just try to avoid worrying about that and just go with what I know.
Fair enough. I see it fitting, since we're sitting in the room where City and Color's platinum-selling albums, Bring Me Your Love and Little Hell were made,
Yes.
that I ask you about your friend Dallas Green coming, asking you to help with his solo work. It seems, to me at least, that your unique input and contributions to those records in particular are what made it some of sort of the important work that he's responsible for in the grand scheme. Is that how you perceive all this in the same manner?
Dallas is a dear friend, and he's absolutely an inspiration to me. He came to me years ago, and we grew up together. In a way, like in my teens. Yeah, we were playing gigs together in this scummy bar, and I remember he came up to me and said, I was with Spencer, who I often play with. He's an old friend as well. He came up to both of us and said, "Hey, you guys should be in a band," And I thought to myself, like, why, But obviously he was right. So anyway, he came to me, basically just looking for assistance, a way to sort of like. He had a certain uncertainty, and he knew that what he was about to do was important. It was at that sort of like turning point in his career, and what my job was, because he trusted my judgment, was just to pry out the ideas he actually already had and get them onto the record. Yeah, and. I would say that musically, my contribution sort of encapsulates the outcome of those records on a musical standpoint. And I also think that it sort of epitomizes the vision of it all within the two albums that I was a part of. And I'm very, very proud to have been a part of those. And I'm honored that he would have seen such a potential in me.
I find it easy to equate your art to someone like Andy Warhol, but the vision of Mosey as a whole to his protege Basquiat, as he was more relevant, sort of a representation of real human emotion.
Sure.
Warhol was like a facade, but had more of a sense of pop culture as art as opposed to art as pop culture.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Absolutely. Like Warhol, it's entertainment. He was very much an entertainer. And that is something that I will always do. It's something that I will always be, primarily. But I would say that the message and aesthetic of Mosey are very much real. Not to say that me as a human being is not real. I'm very much real. But Mosey is very much a direct representation of me. And that will remain unwavering and, in the same way that human nature makes us unwavering.
So speaking of entertainment, then, in relation to how, I would say from the 90s forward, for example, there became a pretty heavy emphasis on not presenting a show as entertainment, or at least pretending that you're not.
Right.
What emphasis of Mosey is on the idea of entertainment primarily? Like what does Mosey represent in that way?
There has to be fun involved. People are depressed more than ever. There has to be some kind of pure, simple entertainment that can just please people, whether it's the music or the show or the wardrobe or whatever it is. Some of the music speaks of the sort of darkness in life. Obviously, it's something that I, for some reason, can channel very well. Not through necessarily personal experience, but more so from a understanding of humankind. And despite that, the show as a whole, whether it's the artwork on the record or the production on the record or a live show or whatever, it has to be stimulating. And the 90s sort of intentionally steered away from that because it was perceived as being passé, or it was perceived as being cheesy or whatever.
Yeah.
But the good old-fashioned whatever, hootenanny, yeah? It's like there's something wholesome about it, and just as real. It's not an act, you know what I mean? Like, you watch an episode of Hee Haw, it seems really corny, obviously, now, because people are so desensitized. But it's not an act. I'm sure some of it is, but people were genuinely content with what they were, you know. And now our generation is like, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, I can be whatever I want to be. I am whatever I want to be. But that comes with, you know, a cost, and that is confusion. And I would say that the entire purpose of what I do is to distract from the confusion.
And that it doesn't make it any less valid if the entertainment is
Absolutely
at the
not.
forefront.
Entertainment is entertainment is entertainment. There's no avoiding that. It's always been that way. It's not a ruse. It's for you to enjoy. However you take pleasure in it, take pleasure in it. And if you don't, that's fine. There's probably something out there that will entertain you, whether it's me or not. But that's my only goal.
So that leaves me with one last question. What inspires you?
TV and junk food.
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
Thanks for the interview.
Thank you very much.